Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning, right?
I am John Palacio.
And I'm April Martinez.
And thank you for joining us this morning. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning out.
Beautiful Wednesday. Oh, the sun is bright and everything. And I never guessed that one storm.
You know?
Yeah.
You know? But there are parts of the country that took the brunt of that storm, but the entire country will be feeling the pinch of it. Yeah. And that's going to be through the flooding. We'll be chit-chatting with that about that in just a few. But I've got to say, you know, it's a great Wednesday, and the reason for that is because when you get a call saying, hey, remember today a Wednesday, and that's when you know, oh, it's going to be a great day.
I wonder if you have to say that because you and me up on the show today this morning.
No, well, you know how that is. So. Dear to me, dear to my heart is my sister here. But indeed, it's going to be a great Wednesday. We try our best to make sure that happens. For some folks, they might say no, might not be as great. But I would like for you to focus on what you're learning from what you think is not great. Which brings me to the topic, April, of the topic of the hottest thing that's going on at this particular point. And I mean that in a, I don't want to say hot, in a terrible way.
It's what everyone is talking about.
What everybody is talking about, what everybody is supposed to know, and we're talking about the flooding situation. April, we are seeing floods after floods after floods. And I would never put a hand on or my mouth there on authorities to say, man, you know, that they're not doing that. They're not doing this and they're not doing this. But we must understand that this world is actually changing, and there are a lot of things that's obvious in how the world is being changed. Look, in 2020, I think in 2021, we've seen waters to this, to these levels and even higher. Yeah. I could remember TD16 as well, and waters to these levels or even higher. Yeah. Now, I could remember interviews with folks saying, I haven't seen this in a long time. Or I could remember when I was a little boy, then this person about 70, 80 years old, I could remember being a little boy and waters not necessarily like this, but somewhere around the corner of it. And then now we're actually seeing it nearly every year. Yeah. Climate change, would you say?
I mean, yeah, climate change, absolutely. And I think in respect to Hurricane Julia is probably 1 out of 5 hurricanes in the past 25 years that have brewed in the Atlantic Ocean, has made itself through Central America
and the Caribbean. So from the Atlantic into the Caribbean.
And then out, because it hits El Salvador, right? Out
to the Pacific. And then,
and then, you know, dwindled away into the Pacific. Yeah. And the second hurricane that did that was also this year. I can't remember the name of that hurricane, but in 25 years, we've only seen 5 hurricanes do that, and that is the effect of climate change. And that does affect the way we're looking at hurricane season now. We might have to extend it. We might have to bring it up at a earlier time of the year, or take it on at a later time of the year. That is something that is consequential due to climate change. And the effects of Julia here in Belize, as we have seen it, has affected already our west. The water has been receding, and it's coming out now into the Belize Valley in the Belize district.
Exactly where we need to go, because the authorities have been saying this. I could remember early last week, where they were saying, you know what, this is going to be bringing a lot of floods, and we want for folks to take heed of what the situation is going to be. The western part of the country took the brunt of it. The southern part of the country saw that as well. Yes. Now, these waters, these flood waters, April, are making their way from the western part now into the eastern part of the country, which is right here in the Belize district. And they're warning. I mean, if you live in low-lying areas out in the Belize River Valley area, or anywhere you know that Once there's flooding, you get flooded out.
Yeah.
Then you need to move from there.
I mean, we were talking about this from last week, right before Hurricane Julia
Yes.
hit, and we were, warning everyone. We had people from the Met Service here on. We were having people from NEMA on here telling everyone to get out and onto higher ground. But for those of us that didn't, there is aid and relief. There was the interview from one of the business owners in Coyote, talking about the last time they had this flooding, it was the same thing. This time they were a little bit more prepared, but it is still a loss of revenue, and they have to figure out a way to rebuild back. I wanted to take us to that interview with Paul Lopez from Monkey River, because they tried to do their, they tried to cover Monkey River yesterday in last night's segment, but it was completely blocked out. They could not reach the area. The only way you could get there was by sea. So can we roll that, Rick? All right. What I really wanted to get through with that story is that now it's not accessible by land. It's only accessible by water.
It's only accessible by sea.
And you have students that are trying to go to school. There are people that are trying to go to work, and there is no way out at the moment.
And so this is the story with Paul Lopez being in Monkey River.
Yes.
All right, so we're getting that in just a few. But this is a clear indication, because the folks in this particular village was actually saying that, we're noticing the trend of the floodwaters, noticing the trend of the tide, and we're actually seeing erosion happening at a very rapid pace. And so that's the reason why we feel that this one is very important. But this was Paul Lopez's story from yesterday there in Monkey River.
Today, it was impossible to get to Monkey River Village by vehicle. The river that runs adjacent to the road was overflowing. Floodwaters had completely taken over this passageway, which is used by residents of the coastal community to get to work and school. Our attempt at reaching Monkey River by vehicle proved futile. We eventually had to turn back. And on Monday, high tide coupled with rains and winds from Tropical Storm Julia's outer bands had residents living along the coast dashing to secure their homes from falling into the sea.
At the seafront, there was I think they never feel too happy because the sea was lashing this at their house, and the tide come up very high, and that's only the high tide from sea. With the weight from the one we come down from the river. So I figure we will go next high tide whenever because the river is supposed to full right now, right?
With all their efforts, residents were unable to stop this wooden structure from collapsing into the sea. Over time, the land beneath the house had significantly eroded, and what remained was no match for the high tide and rough sea conditions.
It's the erosion cause that. Every day the erosion is coming in more to the community, right? Because nothing to stop the sea from hit the beach, right? I don't know if you may know Miss Eleanor Stanley, our house.
The house was considered a landmark by those in the village. One social media user noted that the large balcony facing the sea allowed residents to wash the fisher's boat, head out to the fishing grounds, and come back home after a long day. With no entrance and exit by land to and from the community currently, residents are traveling solely by boat. But this mode of transportation is expensive due to the high cost of fuel.
We rode as, upgrade none at all. The kids that go to high school, and I don't know how they will reach now because nothing, the bus that take them to high school can't move. Every day, the children that go to high school, right? You have about 12 or 13 kids that go to high school.
And today they're at home?
Yeah. No, I think that when someone take them through sea, but that is a big expense for parents to take their children to school to Mango Creek in boat, right? Because the fuel is also expensive.
Castellanos, like many of the villagers living along the coastal community, is pleading for assistance in mitigating this growing problem of coastal erosion.
We hope and we wish that they could bring some rocks and also bolas and throw along the coastline from the bar mouth to maybe where the cemetery is.
Some people are suggesting that it is time for residents in Monkey River to evacuate that community, to altogether leave the community. What do you say to that?
Well, it'd be nice, but the problem we have that we can't get no land at the, let's say in Mango Creek, we can the government are not facilitate with piece of land or so for build a house or so, right?
So if you got land, you would move?
Definitely, because this is coming every year, it be worse and worse.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Final words for me. Every year, it gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
Exactly what we alluded to this morning. Now, you know, we found this to be a very important story for this morning, What's Buzzing, simply because we can see the effects of erosion. Monkey River, if I'm not mistaken, Monkey River was the first town, or it used to be a town.
It used to be a town. It was a large space.
It was a large community.
You know, that landscape where, I think it was not this video, but there was an interview done by Dwayne Moody a couple of months ago that showed where the cemetery was. And it is, of course, way out into where the sea is, but that is the extent of where the land used to be. And that right now, in respect to Miss Eleanor's home that, you know, crashed into the sea and due to the flood and effects of the waves, it is time for us to ask the serious question. What happens to the residents? Whose job is it, or whose business is it that these residents relocate, and whose job is it to find a new space for them? Because as the resident rightfully mentioned, I think it was Mr. Castellanos, that they would gladly move if there was space.
If there was space, and he was actually saying that, you know, at least in the Independence area, in Independence Village, that would be a great area for them to move. It's not far away from where they live. It's actually their community. It's not far away, and so it would be a great space for them to move. But you're totally right in asking whose responsibility it is. But primarily, the residents need to get together, April, and say, Mr. Minister or government or GOB, this is what we need. Just help us with this, and we would eventually try our best to relocate. April?
Because,
Sure, go ahead.
No, I said I was going to add that, you know, you rightfully mentioned that it used to be a town. It now has amounted to a village due to the fact that everyone is leaving.
Everyone
is leaving. They realize that there is no future there, and as much as, you know, I know that sometimes people say, why people not move from a place and the flood and this and that. The connection to your land and your home, it is so difficult sometimes to have to say goodbye. But in this case, where there really is no land to stand on anymore, they have to find a way.
And it's so sad to say that maybe the land around there, because maybe they could have moved a little more further from the sea, but maybe all those lands have been bought up, and because they have, and they're not able to move. But again, in What's Buzzing, April, we must have people understand that the waters from these areas, especially from the western part, is moving east. It's moving into the Belize River Valley area. If you're a farmer and you've got your crops, and you know that, you know, at least a few things ready, then you want to pick those, you want to reap those, and we've got. Also, this is in the coastal area, that picture that we're seeing there. But let me get back to, if you're a farmer, you've got some crops ready. They're asking for you to please move those. If you've got livestock, take them to higher grounds, because the waters are coming in the Belize River Valley area.
And I want you all to use Monkey River as an example, especially John, especially the folks from Crooked Tree, that there is only one road in and one road out. Please take Monkey River as an example and relocate or move to high ground as quickly as possible.
All right. So what we saw there on the screen a while ago was actually a photo, or actually it's a video of a man being rescued out of his cargo truck.
Yeah.
This is in the coastal area. This is on the coastal road. But you know, I'm still here thinking, if there are flooding in the southern part of the country, there is a high chance that the coastal is going to be flooded too.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of wetland areas in that particular spot.
Yes.
And so this was bravery by Belizeans trying to help a Belizean who was really in need of help.
And you know, we will have more on this with our first segment for this morning, talking about climate change week and so forth. But we just really want to tell our viewers, we want to tell you that you need to try your best to be. We were very adamant about this last week. We're being very adamant about it this week. Take it seriously and move to high ground and be as safe as possible.
The authorities have been saying it, April. We've been hearing about it. We'll be taking a look at the weather shortly.
Yeah.
So you know if there is anything out there for us to look out for. But once again, if you are in flood-prone areas, especially in the Belize district, then they're asking for you to please move. Yes, there is NEMO. Yes, there are other authorities, but if
you do your
you've got to do your part first.
Yeah.
You've got to do your part. It's not always on the authorities. The authorities are actually telling you at this point, we're seeing this happening. We're seeing the floods coming. If you're in a flood-prone area, if you're a farmer, you've got your livestock, you've got your crops that are ready to be reaped, then you do what you've got to do as quick as possible so as to be safe and protect your livelihood. All right? This one makes for a conversation as well. You're driving somewhere, you're going somewhere, you're with your peers, have the conversation and let's try to help each other out.
Absolutely.
Speaking of helping each other out, what do you say we motivate you?
Let's get
for the morning?
Yes.
With the eye opener taken from dailyarm.com, and it goes like this. It says, life energy flows through us like a swift stream when there is nothing to obstruct it. The essence of all being is energy. Our physical and ethereal self depend on the unrestricted flow of life energy that is the source of wholeness and wellness. Though the channels through which this energy flows are open systems and influenced by factors outside of our control, we ultimately choose what impact these will have in our lives. It is up to us to identify and clear blockage in the energy field to ensure that flow is maintained. A healthy, grounded individual absorbs some portion of the energy emitted by other people and the environment, but this does not interrupt the continuous stream of balanced energy sustaining them. The same individual copes constructively with stress and upset, and they are not subject to the stagnation that frequently goes hand in hand with negativity. When we keep the energy in and around our bodies flowing harmoniously, we are naturally healthy, we are naturally vibrant, we are naturally peaceful.
I really think about this when you are filled with different levels of stress and animosity, and you have so much on your mind, and it is clogging your ability to function, it is clogging your ability to think and to do your work properly or to function properly in your everyday life. And so I think of it as, you know, when it says life energy flows us like a swift stream and when there's nothing to obstruct it, I think about all of the different parts that are, you know, supposed to let a stream ebb and flow, that are clogged with debris, that are clogged with garbage, that are clogged with all of these elements that shouldn't be there. And when you clean it out and you remove it and the stream starts to flow naturally and you see everything run the way it should be, that's how I think about this eye opener.
Yeah.
That you take out all of that horrible stress, take out all of those clogging thoughts that are disrupting your ability to flow and to work and to progress naturally in your everyday life. That's how I think about this eye opener.
I love the way you put it. There's one part of it that really gets to me, and I really and truly think that folks should absorb that part of it. And it says, a healthy, grounded individual absorbs some portion of the energy emitted by other people and the environment, but this does not interrupt the continuous stream of balanced energy sustaining them. I feel me in this eye opener. For me, it's always good to be pushing out great energy. It's always good to be pushing out that great feel. But at the same time, when you feel that negative push from somebody, what you do is that you absorb it and you turn it into positive energy for yourself that you could emit to other people, because you will find those people, it doesn't matter where you are. Yeah. They are not here to interrupt our lives. They are here to make us stronger. You know, I love this eye opener.
But you do have a very positive outlook on all things life. Like just now, I spilled my coffee right before coming on set, and then John like, "Don't sweat it, man. It's just coffee." You know, and I'm like, "Okay, I have to get it clean. I have to do this, and he's not letting this.
It's just
minor spill obstruct the entire morning, and that is kind of the energy that people need to emulate. They do.
My energy about that is that we don't have to worry about it. We could get some paper and we could just wipe that off. So why worry? You know, no, if it was grounded and as you pour it down there, it automatically gets stained. It's like these paint that you put it done. Yeah. Then why worry about it? Yeah. It's paint.
And you know it is the energy that you need. It is that kind of energy that you need. But like I said, it's a journey and a work in progress, John.
and I like that you said that too, because this is the reason why we say to continue to have the conversation, because it is a work in progress. Yeah. The more we learn, the more we have conversations, the more we talk, then these life energy have continuous flow. And that's the only way we're going to learn from each other. That's the only way we're going to continue to push or emit better energy. Because what we do, April, is that we learn from each other. And for this reason, I keep on saying, you know what? It doesn't make sense to be stagnated elsewhere. Talk about it, do what you've got to do, and make sure that you continue to emit positive energy to your peers, to your country, to your world.
Love it.
Like it,
but we're gonna motivate and keep on motivating our wonderful viewers this morning with an update from the folks at the Met Service this morning with our weather.
All right.
Good morning. Mainly fair conditions prevail. The 24-hour forecast: mostly sunny today and partly cloudy tonight. Showers will be isolated, with a chance for isolated thunderstorms developing and slightly more over the south tonight. Please note that a flood warning remains in effect for communities along the major rivers across the country. High temperatures for today will reach 88 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 93 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the mountains. Low temperatures for tonight will be 82 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 75 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and 68 degrees Fahrenheit in the hills. Winds over the open sea will be from the east to southeast at 10 to 20 knots, and sea conditions will be light chop to choppy. High tides occur at 11:48 this morning and then 11:07 tonight. Low tides at 5:20 this evening and then 6:31 tomorrow morning. The moon will set at 8:10 this morning and rise at 7:41 tonight. Sunset is at 5:32 this evening and sunrise at 5:45 tomorrow morning. The extended forecast: mainly fair conditions with isolated showers or thunderstorms developing for Thursday and slightly more over the south for Thursday night. And in the tropical weather outlook, at 6 a.m., Tropical Storm Carl was centered near latitude 21.5 north and longitude 94.8 west, or about 185 miles north-northeast of Veracruz, Mexico. Carl was moving to the north-northwest at 6 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour. And this has been this morning's weather report from the National Meteorological Service.
Thankful to get the update from the folks at the National Met Service.
Yes.
And again, they're putting out that reminder and that warning that if you're living in flood-prone areas, low-lying areas, then they're asking for you to please move away from those areas. But the outlook, it says, for Wednesday night and Thursday, similar weather conditions. I guess that is supposed to be good weather. It doesn't matter, though, April, that we've got great weather, but at the same time, the flood waters are actually rising. Why? It might have been raining in the hills, Guatemala. Those waters move from that particular area from west to east to the sea.
Every time we talk about things like the river and the weather and these kinds of floodings, I am always reminded that Belize is not singular. We are connected in a land mass of all of these countries that the water connects us all of these trees, all of this environment connects us together. And that is why it's important that we keep abreast with climate change.
Excellent. Speaking of climate change, that is going to be the first topic for this morning. We'll be having that conversation. Now, representatives from the Belize Climate Change, from Belize Climate Change will be joining us this morning to talk about National Climate Change Week. They've got a week, so we'll be talking about that in the first segment.
And of course, in keeping in line with mental health conversations, we are going to be talking about how art can help you mentally, and we're going to be having representatives of some artists. Maybe we have a paint, John, I don't know. But we'll be talking about how art can help you with your mental health.
All right, and in the final segment for this morning, we'll be meeting a Belizean artist. We've met her so many times. She's been on Summerfest so many times. Marilyn Vanson will be joining us. We know that she has been going through a very rough journey, but even through that journey, Marlon continued to write her songs. She continues to record her songs. She continues to be that bright light that we all need to look upon. Yeah. That hope is always there. She'll be joining us in the final segment for this morning. Okay. And that's what we've got lined up for you. We'll be taking a break. When we come back, of course, it's going to be about climate change that week, what you need to know about climate change, and much more. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Start your engines now for the National MSME Roadshow, geared towards building the resilience of MSMEs and developing a national MSME directory. Sign up for this 3-day event filled with intensive boot camps, presentations, MSME support and formalization clinics, pop-up shops, and more to help you develop and promote your business. The National MSME Roadshow will be in Corozal starting August 24th, Orange Walk August 31st, Belize City September 7th, Punta Gorda September 14th, Key Cocker September 22nd, Belmopan September 28th, San Ignacio and San Helena on October 5th, Dangriga October 12th, Placencia October 19th, and closes in San Pedro from October 26th. Learn more and sign up for the National MSME Roadshow by visiting the Beltrade Facebook page or call or WhatsApp us at 613-5139. And let's get your business on the road.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
Let October be a spectacular month with scary good deals from Cellular World during our unbelievable savings promotion. Our treats will definitely make you forget about the tricks with entry-level phones starting at an unbelievably low price of $55, tablets as low as $155, monitors at $329, smartwatches for only $129, and speakers at an unbeatable $45 plus so much more. Shop with us to enjoy huge savings. Get a chance to win a treat from one of our 3 mystery boxes where you can be the lucky winner of a free Samsung flip phone, earbuds, headphones, speakers, phone stands, coffee mug, SD card, and other accessories with selected purchases. Don't delay. Visit any of our branches in Belize City, Belmopan, or San Pedro to take advantage of our unbelievable offers available at Cellular World. Low prices, more choices.
requisitos para la amnistía 2022? Esta es tu oportunidad de aplicar. En el sitio web www.immigration.gov.bz encontrará una lista completa de todos los documentos necesarios para la amnistía según los criterios para los que eres elegible. Asegúrese de reunir todos los documentos generales y de respaldos necesarios y las traducciones necesarias. Haz tu cita en línea con cualquiera de nuestros centros de registro a nivel nacional. Ahí presentarás tus documentos y completarás las entrevistas requeridas. Después, se te entregará un recibo de aceptación. Mientras esperas una decisión sobre tu solicitud, puedes seguirlo en línea y saber cuándo será el pago en la oficina de tesorería del gobierno más cercana. Una vez completa, recibirás tu tarjeta de residencia permanente que muestra tu estado legal en Belice. Obtenga más información sobre la amnistía 2022 y cómo presentar tu solicitud en línea en www.immigration.gov.bz. Prepárate, el plazo de inscripción será del 2 de agosto al 30 de noviembre de 2022. Amnistía de Belice 2022. Continuemos construyendo Belice juntos.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for Financial Literacy Journalism.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
And we'll be back in a few, so stay tuned. Thanks, Jen. Hey there, we know you have to head out to work shortly, but don't forget that you can stay tuned by watching us on our Facebook live stream. Find us at Open Your Eyes BC, and you can continue watching there. You can also download Facebook Watch on your streaming device, and you can watch at your own convenience.
And for all the behind-the-scenes fun, follow us on Instagram at OYE Belize. So,
find us
and follow us
today.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're moving now into our first segment for the morning, and like we had mentioned to you this morning, is that we'll be starting off with climate change. And while we've got that, we've actually have the professionals in to talk to us all about it. It's actually Climate Change Week. We want to know, so much when it comes to climate change. Now, in to talk to us, we've got Miss Una May Gordon. She's actually an environmental and climate change expert. She's on Zoom with us. We have Dr. Lennox Gladden in with us. He's the Chief Climate Change Officer. We've got Sumit Betancourt, Emission Factor Lead Officer, and Daryl Avila, Caribbean Youth Environment Network Representative. I got it correct? Everything correct? That's right. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning and welcome, and happy Climate Change Week.
Is it a happy Climate Change Week?
Well, I mean, when we talk about Climate Change Week, there's so many things that we'll be actually touching on, and we know that things are tough at this point. So I'd like to get to Dr. Gladden first and ask the question, what is climate change? When we hear climate change, what are we talking about here?
Okay, so actually it was mentioned yesterday, right? Whereby of course there's a generic definition of climate change. We're quite familiar with that. But for us, it's important to take a more national view as it relates to climate change, the impacts that we're seeing. It refers to, of course, the change of weather patterns, stuff of that nature. But from a national perspective, climate change, what it means for Belizeans, we look at some of the vulnerabilities, some of the social implications of the change in weather, the increased temperature, the more intensified tropical storms, hurricanes, like the ones that we've experienced over the past couple of days. So when we discuss climate change, and I know definitely Una May can weigh in because she gave a very good synopsis of the reality of climate change, not only from our context, because I'm talking about from our context, but the regional context, where sometimes it becomes misleading when we discuss climate change.
So let's get Ms. Una in on this, because I feel it's very important. For everything to be successful, there must be a buy-in, and people need to understand how important this is. So Ms. Una, can you give us a little synopsis of what you had mentioned yesterday, and then we go from there?
Good morning again, morning to your listeners. Great to be back in Belize to be doing this. And you asked the question earlier, let me weigh in on that, if it can be happy Climate Change Week. Yes, it is a really good time to be having this discussion, considering what is happening in Belize this week. And so we could not be having this national discussion at a more opportune time, where we are really zooming in on the issues, the impacts, and I'm in San Ignacio. I mean, the impacts are just right there front and center in our faces. And so we had a meeting yesterday morning just sensitizing, crowding in the indigenous people from all over Belize, and they were here. And they had to wade their ways through floods and so to be here to get this information. And then in the afternoon, we had the youth. And so part of the message I was sending is that climate change is a whole of society, and tackling climate change is a whole of society, whole of government, whole of people initiative. And unless everybody have the same information and have the same put in the same effort to tackle the issues, then we are moving at snail pace. The matter is really, really urgent as we speak. So not really happy times for some of the people, but a happy time for the experts that we have an opportunity to discuss it, and we don't have to be explaining away the impacts because they're right there in our faces.
I've been looking at some of the flyers, and I feel it's very important, especially for this event.
Right.
But
this event she was referring to was the Indigenous Peoples and Youth Climate Change and Biodiversity Sensitization section. Yes.
But let me quickly be devil's advocate here, and I'd like to ask the question once again to Ms. Una. Folks will tell you that, you know what, the weather has been changing a lot ever so long, ever since the inception of this world. Things that happen, things that change and whatnot. So what makes it something for us to be watching now? Dr. Gladden, you could take it, or Una, you could take it as well.
You know, the weather has been changing, and I can tell you, there is something in climate change that is called slow onset event. These are the things that creep up on us. So if I can remember coming to Belize where the nights were hot, but they were not so hot. So yes, the weather has been changing, but the dramatic changes that are taking place now, the storms, we live in an hurricane belt across the Caribbean. So we always have hurricane. But can you imagine the intensity of the hurricanes now? Before we had a category 1 and a category 2, and we know they are coming in. Now the categories are off the scale. So yes, it is changing, but if you realize how hot, when it changes now, how massive the changes are, where we have temperatures in the region now at 36 degrees. In Jamaica a couple days ago, in the summer, we have 38. Where did we ever get those temperatures in a region like ours? We have 29, 31 degrees in the shades, right? But now, it's really, so it's changing. But look at the unprecedented nature, and that's what climate change is all about. It is telling us that things are really getting worse, and something really, we know what is causing that.
I want to touch on the events that are happening this week. And yesterday was the event that Ms. Una gave her speech at in terms of Indigenous peoples and youth climate change. I want to get Daniel and Daryl on this conversation. Let's talk about what the youth are discussing in terms of climate change, because we have been talking about climate change a lot, and it's been surrounding certain generations. They're more active in terms of having this discussion. So yeah, let's get in your perspective.
So when we talk about youth speaking about climate change, we want to look at the different intersectionalities of how climate change is not only affecting the social aspect of what is happening, but knowing that when these older folks they pass on, and we're going to be the ones that have to be able to tackle these challenges and try to formulate adaptive methodologies to be able to live under these circumstances of climate change.
Yeah. Do you feel that from a youthful perspective, do you feel that it is a conversation that is being have at this particular point? And do you feel that as youths, we're actually doing what we're supposed to try and curtail what we're doing so that so we could eventually continue with a better lifestyle? What are your thoughts from a youthful perspective?
From my perspective, I believe that we are moving in the right direction as youths to understand the knowledge of what climate change and the impacts is on us. There are different organizations that talk about climate change on a youthful scale. So when you look at it regionally and nationally, youths are trying to make their name out there and trying to let others know that hey, that we're here and we want our voices to be heard.
When we are talking about the effects of climate change, and I want to have this discussion in terms of your event that is happening tomorrow, larger corporations, larger countries are the ones that are lead in terms of fossil fuels. They're the ones that are generating most of the gases that are leaking into our ozone layer. And then of course, small countries like Belize that are not making those changes in a grandiose scale are being affected. Let's talk about that imbalance in the world. How can we help to make that better for us, Belize?
Okay, so we understand that there's an imbalance, right? That is accepted, right? But it doesn't mean that we should not do our part, right? We're part of a global society. So all of these imbalances that we're aware of, we take the necessary steps, and like you said, the buy-in is important. Right? We have to have discussions and say, even when we go to some of these events, our national position, the position that we take as a country, is not the Ministry of Sustainable Development and Climate Change position. And this was rightly stated by Dr. Williams. No, we get feedback from the youths, we get feedback from the local indigenous communities, from the various business sectors, right? And we make that intervention to say, listen, our contribution is negligible as it relates to greenhouse gases, right? But yet, these are our positions as it relates to our adaptive capacity. We need some technology transfer. We're looking at climate finance, right? This is talking about resource mobilization. So that imbalance, it is important for us to make our needs known, make our challenges known, so then they can then fill that gap. It's always been a challenge for them to fill that gap. But without them knowing exactly what is happening nationally and also regionally, it will always be.
And that's exactly what I was asking about earlier, because then everybody needs to know the importance of, which leads me to come to Sumit, whereby, emission factors. Now, we understand what the world is going through at this particular point. The population is rising. Businesses are actually pushing things out more, which leads to emission. Which brings me to the question: the importance of these things and how they contribute to climate change throughout the world, not only here at home, but throughout the world. Let's talk about emission and how it affects climate change.
Yeah, sure. So as April rightfully mentioned, Belize as a small country, we're actually a carbon sink. We remove far more greenhouse gases than we actually emit.
Yes.
But you have these large developed nations, industrialized nations who are fossil-based, who are pumping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And they are trying to curtail to a certain extent, but Belize, again, being the ambitious jewel that we are, we've always maintained conservation efforts. As a matter of fact, we have a forest cover of about 60%. Our deforestation rate is under 0.7% on an annual basis, but that's not to say that we're not developing. There are ways that we can improve some of our methods, our management skills. And so in my role as an emission factor officer at the Forest Department, what we do is we track land use cover, and land use change. And across the country, we have a network of what we refer to as a permanent sample plot network, where we study the biomass in different forest types, mature broadleaf, pine forest, non-forest ecosystems, so that we can get the data necessary to understand, okay, if we cut a mature broadleaf of 1 hectare, which is 100 by 100 meters, if we cut that down, we know based on our data we're releasing upwards of 200 tons of CO2 into the atmosphere.
Wow.
And based on our land use cover data, we then, at the very basic level, we then combine that with our land use change data, and then we're able to develop an emissions profile for the country as well as removals. But again, this data is important to guide policy development, improve management, effectiveness of our management skills in our protected areas, and so forth. So it informs decision makers.
How do you advise businesses where would be good land then to start a business, to build somewhere, in terms of would it be right for me to start a business in a space that is heavy with mangroves, or is probably below sea level and will be prone to be completely underwater in the next 20 years? How do you
so the good thing about data, there is so much literature available, especially in country for Belize, which can inform business developers, guide them on where to develop or where to start a business. But I think one of the critical things that, at least from the Forest Department perspective, when it comes to specifically agriculture, which is very vast in this country, we don't want to use new land, rather we want to restore degraded land and improve on that. And there is a science to back up how you can do that, and so that is also another measure that developers can take.
We're pushing Climate Change Week and having this discussion more so than, I think we may need to have this discussion 20 years ago, but this discussion more so in terms of the events. Talk to us about the event tomorrow and how you're wrapping things up with Climate Change Week. Okay,
so tomorrow we have what we consider a high-level segment, whereby leading up to COP27, we needed to start this process. We need to start this dialogue. Right? So that is why we, as you mentioned, the buy-in from the communities, the buy-in from the youths, and whatsoever they've discussed over the past couple of days, what they take into tomorrow, and hopefully they're able to complete that task, is a youth declaration, right? To say, okay, this is what we're looking at from our perspective, right? The next generation who will be responsible to combat some of these impacts of climate change. We'll have that, they'll be able to liaise with the different line ministries, the different sectors, right? To impart upon them. These are the issues that we're facing, and it helps with that policy direction, decision making. So it's not only within that technical realm that we're looking at these discussions, right? Because again, we take it to the next step, whatever comes out. We're just starting the conversation. Ending, I think next month when we're in Egypt, we can say, you know something, we got the policy direction right, from the communities, from the decision makers. Because so it's just that, in a quick synopsis. Having the various partners discuss with the policymakers, the decision makers, so we can have a comprehensive, like I say, a whole society approach towards resiliency building.
Exactly, and which leads me again to Daryl, with respect to climate change and some of the want to knows about, from the youthful perspective again, what do you think would be some of the most important things your generation should know in terms of how we try to combat climate change?
There's this terminology, it's very new in the realm of climate change, climate justice. It speaks about how, well, just generally, you know, it talks about how, you know, it affects us culturally, you know, because climate change, not only, you know, thinking about the effects, you know, we have to look at how these effects affect us culturally as well.
You're totally right.
Look at, we're here in Belize, and we're a melting pot of cultures. You know, so the more of the effects it has on us, the more we cannot be able to, we are more vulnerable, and we cannot be able to carry out our daily lives. You know, so
from a cultural perspective, we're not able to carry out.
You
you're
know,
totally right.
You know, so that's my take on that.
And then Sumit, you know, we have to come to you with Sumit. So because we're in the wrapping up process here, with respect to tomorrow's event, what do you think will be coming out of that when it comes to emissions that people should know?
So based on the discussions we're having now at this level and led by Ms. Yuna May, it is clear that there are, for instance, drivers of deforestation or forest loss in this country, and the sources of emissions. And well, the first step, of course, is building capacity, building knowledge, and, you know, having youths aware of what's actually occurring. That's the first step. And in regards to a response to that, we have, for instance, national documents like the National Determined Contributions with sector-specific targets. For instance, in the FOLU sector, the forestry and other land use sector, one of the ways we want to reduce our emissions is replanting or restoring mangrove ecosystems. 12,000 over 10 years. And so, like Daryl rightfully said, there are youth movements transcending across the community, across schools, universities, who can get involved in this process. It's not necessarily only at the government scale, but it's all of us that need to do our part. And so that's how they can come involved, and they can understand what the emissions are, where it's coming from, and actually responding to this through climate mitigation actions.
Can anybody attend these events?
It is open, somewhat. We targeted some of the groups because we couldn't cover everybody. Like Mr. Avila, some of the groups coming out of Benik, just to focus on the indigenous and local communities. But it's a first step. Right? It's a first step to having that discussion between both state and non-state actors when it comes to the combating the impacts of climate change. Right? So next year, hopefully we can scale up a bit and get more people involved in the discussion, because we don't want for it to be a one-off activity.
Of course,
right? Because, like you said, climate change, we're living in it right now, right? Because even for the youths, I think right now, out of the total global population, 1.8 billion, they're between 10 and 24, right? So that's 20%. Right? So we want to maintain that discussion. We want to continue the collaboration, right? And like I said, it's part of a larger process to get that buy-in, that direction from the communities and those who are truly being impacted by the impact.
This is a great kudos for me for the fact that you're actually planting the seed at this point. Thereafter, we reap the benefits of. But everybody have to understand how important that plant is. Speaking of that, and I'll come to you, Sumit. I've got to say kudos to the Bowen and Bowen group, who 2 weeks ago actually was in front of Belize City planting mangroves because of the importance of these plants with respect to climate change and with respect to erosion.
That's right.
And so this is the important part of it. But finally, for me, Ms. Una, I'd like to get to you once again. And let's talk about the regional perspective of this that could be heard in tomorrow's event. She'll be a part of it, right? There you go. There we go. So you being the facilitator, Ms. Una, what can folks look forward to for tomorrow's event?
For tomorrow, we also have to remember that the Regional Climate Change Center is located in Belize, and you should take kudos for that as well. Belize said we will host the seriousness of that. Tomorrow we hope that the senior officials across the ministries, departments would come together and we could understand in some of the sectors to just apply a climate lens. What do you look for? How do you integrate in your planning process some of these issues that we see, that we are talking about? Because sometimes, as you say, when you talk about climate change, it becomes almost a misnomer to somebody. What is that? So we're going to bring them together and really just have a conversation. As Leonard said, this is the start of a process, and we have to congratulate the government of Belize and the ministry for putting this week together, because sometimes we have these one-off events. We target the youth and it's a one-off. We target another set of the population. This week is just bringing everything together so that it continues, and hopefully, as we say, this is the planting of a seed that the government is really serious of engagement of the population in crafting the solutions.
Wow. Ms. Una, we're so looking forward to it, and I'm sure it's going to be a great event for tomorrow. Trying to continue to plant the seed of, especially into the youthful population, because a lot of them, trying to make sure that the youthful population understand the importance of climate change and how we could eventually make that change for our country, our region, and of course for our world.
They're the ones that are going to live the impacts.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Ms. Una Mae Gordon, Dr. Lennox Gladden, Sumit Betancourt, Daryl Avila, guys, we want to thank you for joining us this morning. Great conversation, and best of luck for tomorrow's event. And once again, happy Climate Change Week.
Fine. Happy
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, the conversation continues. This one is all about mental health and how art can help you mentally. It's a great conversation coming up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Excuse me, sir? Yeah. But how can you pay with your phone? B-Box. What? What is B-Box?
B-Box is Benny's newest rewards program.
Really? Where I could get it from?
Man, check on the website bbox.bz, or you could download it from the App Store. And if you still don't know, check that young lady there and she'll hook you up.
I will surely do so. Good afternoon, miss. Can you hook me up with B-Box?
It's almost lunchtime and Alice is getting hungry and forgot to bring cash.
She remembers that eCash now has a geolocation feature in which she can easily view the eCash merchants near her, especially restaurants. Her co-workers also ask her to order food for them.
Chicken chow mein, please, and a Coke.
The merchant sends her the payment link, she taps confirm, and within a few minutes, her food is delivered. Alice then views her transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made, then taps the split the bill button where she selects the unevenly option and moves the bar to the desired amount per person. The request is then sent to her friends. Her colleagues accept the request and are ready to enjoy their meals. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash make Alice's life a whole lot easier. My parents always said, when it's time to build, invest in quality products that last a lifetime, even if it means paying a little more. It is now my turn to invest in my own home, and it's not even a question. It has to be Oran Windows. My contractor recommends Oran because of the heavy-duty construction, the thickest gauge blades on the market, and the dual locks that allow lower louvers to close independently for privacy while the top remains open for airflow. These features make Oran aluminum louver windows the best on the market.
With Oran aluminum louver windows, you get strength, durability, and beauty with an added layer of security and protection against debris and damaging winds. Come in and check out the variety of sizes and colors at Design Depot, located at Mile 3 Philip Goldson Highway in Belize City.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for Financial Literacy Journalism.
We're back.
We are back.
Just like that, we're back.
And of course, joining us, we have a little bit of a switch up, but that's what we do here on the show every single
just like that.
day. Joining us, we are here to talk all about the capacity building for public transport reform. And in studio with us, we have Trudy Joseph from the Transport Project Unit and Eric Sanchez, who is the transport planner, both from the Department of Transport.
Yeah.
You never know yet, right? So good morning. We have been discussing things from road accidents to public service to bositos. So talk to us about what the capacity building for public transport reform is and how Belizeans can look forward to that change as it gradually comes.
Yeah.
So basically, the capacity building for public transport reform project actually comes from the Comprehensive National Transportation Master Plan, which was funded by IDB, and that was done in 2018. Okay. And so there was a gap seen that basically the Department of Transport needed additional capacity to be able to roll out certain things. Yeah. As we all know, and we've seen today, everyone in Belize generally wears multiple hats. Yeah. But when it is that you want to focus on specific things, it is important that you be able to provide what are the necessary resources. And so from that, then a technical corporation was founded, which is focusing on the modernization of public transportation. Mm-hmm. And that's how Eric and I came on board, where it is that we provide technical support along with other consultants to be able to get us to where it is that we want to go, short, medium, and long term. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people feel like things will change in a minute, but it didn't happen last second, so it is that we need to take time for us to have change, not just from the commuter standpoint, but also from the operator's standpoint. Mm-hmm. So just to quickly state that there are 5 components to this project. And that's because, again, we don't want to just focus on one single thing, because when you make a change on the left, generally there are changes that
On the
is
right.
on the right.
Mhm.
So what we're currently doing is the dissemination of information. We have already had some research that has been done. We have some data already. Some of us already know the data before it is that it is offered. But Eric will speak a little bit more to that as it relates to the data and how that helps us to determine what are the changes that are necessary. And so that's the fifth component. We also have a knowledge transfer that will be done to South Korea, and that is because their transportation reform has been massive. Naturally, there won't be things that we be able to bring here, but there are certain things that can open our eyes to be able to say, how can we make the modernization work for Belize?
Yeah.
Not the pie in the sky type of thing, but things that are doable for us here.
So when you're talking about these kinds of changes in respect to looking at other countries and see how we can collaborate, you would mean monitor things like scheduling, monitor
Correct.
things like making sure the buses leave on time, making sure that the fee is standardized.
Correct.
Right? So in respect to the data and how you plan to do this, with the lack of manpower, I'm not going to say resources because clearly that's why the collaboration is there, but with the lack of manpower, are we talking about new job opportunities for persons?
I'm glad thank you for the question. And that really jumps into the second component of the project, which focuses on routing and scheduling. And when that comes to mind, the first thing you want to think about is technology. And it's not to make people obsolete, but it's to improve the functionality of a system. And within this system, what we're actually doing is creating a transport model, which we're for the first time creating an automated transport model that would allow us to then manage transportation sector from a technological standpoint. Because in most developed systems, you would have the design of a transport model that then feeds into the routing and scheduling systems that allows for us to say, hey, maybe we don't need to have people on the road every day monitoring when the bus comes and go, but we can do it automatically using GPS systems and those different type of technology.
And that's one of the things that we notice happen a lot, where there are a lot of people monitoring traffic or monitoring transportation within the country, and there's not much done. So people see that and expect that some things will change, but they don't feel the necessary change, which leads me to ask the question, Eric, what are we getting from the public? We know that we're doing groundwork. In order for us to change, we must ask people, or we must know what people want. What are people saying?
And I love the transition into the question, I must add. Surprisingly, knowledge and experience really plays a fundamental role.
Yes.
And we have to be true to the fact that, you know, at times people are saying they're very satisfied with the current system. Some would say that they are more than 90% satisfied with the current system. And this is data that is empirically proven, right? Where other people are saying, you know, we're on Facebook and we're on Instagram and we're on conversations like these and we're saying, I'm hella tired. It needs to change. Yeah. What we need from the people and what we're getting from the people is their opinion. What it is that they want, where is it that we can find that balance? And in this sector, in this study, this research and reform, that is exactly what we did. We ensured that we had conversations with the stakeholder, being the public, as well as with the operators, with the owners, with people from the DOT, because both Trudy and myself are consultants working with the Department of Transport through the IDB. And then also, just before we skip, component one for the project also does look at the reform of the policy and the guiding structure for regulations that govern transportation throughout the country. So it's multifold.
So what are some of the changes that folks are expecting or expected to see? And again, I always talk about the buy-in process. Me and you have to be on the same page. Make I understand. And I want to see the road as clear as you are seeing it. So what are some of the changes that people are expected to see or should see with respect to the, this project?
One thing I want to say, first of all, is that we want to do a phased approach. And so we're grateful to the operators that have already started to make some modernization and changes. You may have seen some newer buses that are actually on the road. The whole idea is for us to get to where it is that we need to go, but first to understand that it actually requires high capital. So ideally what we're doing from the operator standpoint, we are providing them with additional information If it is that you have an older fleet, you have higher maintenance costs.
Yes.
And so with a newer fleet, as we know, even with our private vehicles, the lead bucket truck, you know, at the end of the day will cost us a little bit more, may break down on the road.
True. Yeah. That's totally
Something
true.
newer, yes. So it's from that perspective. And so what we're doing now, we're talking about more information, and then expectation is that come January 2023, we will see an increase in the modernization of the buses that it is that you're currently seeing on the road. Not just newer buses, but we're looking also at the safety aspect. And that will then extend all the way up to 2024, end of 2024. So operators ideally have 2 years in order for them to get to where it is that the project information is stating that you need to get to, so you can be sustainable, one, but also that there's safety for the commuters. And then on the other side, it also has to do with scheduling, which means reliability. It means I know that my bus will be coming in 15 minutes. I know if I'm not able to catch this bus, there's another one that will be coming a few minutes later, or I know another bus will be sent. And so as it comes to the classes of the bus, I'd like to ask Eric to go ahead and provide additional information for that, because there will be somewhat of a tiered system for the buses.
All right, Eric.
Yeah, thank you. And what do we get? First, I think the most important thing is safety. Another empirical study shows that more than 98% of the buses fleet do not meet all safety requirements as would be necessary. So we want to pin it there, and that's the transition point to what the ministry is saying. Look, we need safer buses on the roads, and we need safer transportation systems. As such, we also need comfort in some degree. And in order to have this comfort, we're looking at 4-tiered approach. We're looking at a premier service that really would be, for instance, from Orange Walk in the morning at 6 o'clock. You have 5 runs. Let's say one of those runs would be a premier service, a higher quality caliber of bus. Second to that, and that might see an increase in fare, but those are for people like yourselves who can afford a little more, right? The final things in life. Second to that would be Economy 1. Now, the Economy 1 is the regular it's the express bus that we currently have. However, that will not see an increase in fare as is projected currently, as you can see on the screen. But what it does allow is for us to increase the quality of service in terms of the comfort, in terms of the efficiency, in terms of the overall aesthetics and feel of it. Second to that, well, third rather, is the Economy 2. What Economy 2 is going to see is the regular bus, or the current regular bus. However, they will move a transition away from the general school buses to more either coach type buses or the commercial Bluebird type buses. It may look the same, but really the comfort is really a lot different, because if you have a little bit longer feet, you know, you don't necessarily want to be squinged all the time. And lastly is the regular runs, or the current village runs.
I like the 3 regular, regular.
The top-tier system.
It's top-tiered. The village runs, it was the general the runs, but we're not seeing any much change there, except the fact that we need to ensure that the buses are safe.
I think
they're there.
and that they're there. But I also feel that from the ministry's standpoint, there must be adherence to the rules, and there must be terminals, or not necessarily terminals, especially for the regular runs, that there is a point that they're supposed to stop, because we're finding out that this is one of the biggest problems. Look, in the news, you'd hear a lot about traffic incidents that would occur because somebody just decided to stop. Somebody that lives in a village decided to pop out the same time the bus is about to pass. That bus driver know that particular money count, and so that bus driver is going to stop. And we're seeing this especially in Belize City here, where buses stop next to the roundabout. And people come out dead around the boat when people are trying to pass to go to work. And while we've got that, we know that is hazardous. But there is no rules or nobody enforcing the law that we must stop these things. Thus, there's a blockade of traffic in the city and elsewhere. So let's talk about that aspect.
You know what I find amazing? A person will take a picture of standees on the bus, as an example, right? But they're sitting down, because you'll see the angle, right? And hardly ever do you see the picture being taken where it is that they are actually a person as a standee on the bus. My point to that is that there are people, for them, they want to get to where it is that they want to go.
So they don't care.
Because of the way the system is currently set up, it's difficult because you're not sure when you're going to be able to catch
another bus.
And that's the reason why the routing, the scheduling is extremely important, because we have some data. Like as an example, coming from Dangrega on a Monday morning, as an example, is generally, if you're not able to catch the first bus, it's half an hour before you catch the next bus. And then if you don't catch that bus, you're going to be late if you're heading to Belmopan. So for some people, listen, I'll sit on a bucket, I'll sit beside somebody, I'll sit on somebody's lap. Overall, what we're saying is that there are people, it works for them if I can stand up, and for other people, they see the safety issues as it relates to that. I generally tell Eric, there are some buses I go on and I feel like they're moving too slow for me because I know where I want to get to. And there are other buses I will catch. I enjoy the ride because I'm swerving like this and I'll get to where I need to get to. But we do recognize that safety, adherence to the rules is extremely important. If I want to go somewhere and I'm on an express bus that will get me there faster, but then I'll come off at the bump, I'm okay doing that because I will get to where I need to go. But the person who is going express to the location, it's like, why are we stopping at all of this location? So sensitizing the commuters is also extremely important.
So we've been talking mostly about, you know, national transportation, right? Let's get to local and regional transportation. How does this public transportation reform affect things like busitas and like cab drivers?
So to answer your question more pointedly, there's no shortcut in enforcement. And enforcement has to be done. But there's also what we are producing is standard operating procedures that really should be the guiding framework on how bus operators should operate. And nothing can beat underground boots. To answer your question though, taxis and busitas, unfortunately, taxis particularly, have not been touched by this project. We really wanted to, however, because of certain constraints and because it would require more studies. Busitas, however, we are looking at busitas more in terms of scheduling and the routing that they're taking.
Yes, and that's one of the important part to me, where these buses stop so people can adhere to it and therefore it have a better flow of traffic. We're totally out of time though. We're totally out of time. I do hope that you guys could come back. This is a very important matter within this country. Schedule on next time for me, please. All right? But we've got to take a break though. When we come back, it's all about mental health and how art can help you mentally. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay with us.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, give everyone what you owe him. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt of love for one another. Several years ago, the president of a bank, who was a faithful member of the church that I served as pastor, looked across his desk and asked, Bob, do you know who the 3 poorest credit risks are? I quickly answered, no, sir. He replied, preachers, policemen, and politicians. To me, that was such an indictment against community leaders who should be setting the standard for others. That day I resolved in my heart that by the grace of God, I would do my part in changing those statistics. I can honestly tell you that my wife and I have reared 4 children, and not once while they were growing up did they ever have one person to knock on our door or to call by telephone seeking to collect for an overdue debt that was carelessly neglected. The Bible has much to say about paying our honest debts. The Bible teaches us to pay every debt we owe, whether to God, the government, or the general store. There is only one debt that is allowed to remain outstanding. It is the debt of love, that we are forever indebted to each other. If we love God, our country, and our Christian witness, we will pay our debts. The Bible says the wicked borrow and do not repay, but the righteous give generously, as preachers, policemen, and politicians should exemplify. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen Broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen Broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
Hello eCash user, the eCash app is now available in Spanish. Changing the language in your eCash app from English to Spanish is quick and easy. Let me walk you through the steps. First, open your eCash app. Enter your PIN. Tap the More icon at the bottom of your screen. Choose Security. Select Language. Tap on Spanish. Then re-enter your PIN. And that's it! Your eCash app is now in Spanish, and you can continue to enjoy your eCash digital wallet. Belize Bank's eCash app makes life easier.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for Financial Literacy Journalism.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
And we'll be back in a few, so stay tuned. Thanks, Jen. Hey there, we know you have to head out to work shortly, but don't forget that you can stay tuned by watching us on our Facebook live stream. Find us at Open Your Eyes BC, and you can continue watching there. You can also download Facebook Watch on your streaming device, and you can watch at your own convenience.
And for all the behind-the-scenes fun, follow us on Instagram at OYE Belize. So,
find us
and follow us
today.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
And we're back, just like that, we're back. We're moving now into our third segment. Now, this one we had intro first, but nonetheless, it's here with us. This one is all about mental health and how art can actually help you with dealing with it. It is very important we know our mental health and how far we can go in making art, and art with life. In to talk to us about it, we've got Raquel Rodriguez. She's the owner, Raquel Art. She's been no stranger. And we like her. We love her. We love her. We also have Carrie Wade, who's a psychologist, and Courtney Gentle, a student at Raquel Art. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome.
Good morning.
How do you say good morning in art form?
Morning? I don't know.
I don't know. You know that heart thing? You know that heart thing? It's so nice to have you in with us. So nice to have you in. Primarily, I'd like to get to Carrie, though. As a psychologist, we know that, especially in today's day and age, things are tough. And a lot of people might just be going through, a lot with respect to mental health. Let's talk about what mental health is and how do you detect it and things you could do to eventually give yourself an ease of mind.
One of the biggest things about mental health when we talk about it is people think it's either you're sick or you're well.
Yeah.
And the reality is we're a bit of both.
Yeah.
Any day.
Yeah.
So today if we're late, we may be a bit more on the spectrum of not so well, and then something else happens, we can become more unwell. But something good happens, it brings us closer to the wellness side. So mental health and mental wellness isn't just here and now, it's continuum. So some days we're on the side that we're feeling great, and some days we're on the side that we're like, oh no, I've missed an appointment.
Yeah.
So mental health is just like physical health. It can come, go, and we can do a lot of work to make sure that it stays good.
I mean, in the aspect of today, we are using art as a way to help with our mental health. And I was excited about this because to me, art is therapeutic. Painting is therapeutic, and I mean, I'm not an artist like them, but I feel that if I'm just focusing on something, I'm painting on a canvas, I just feel relaxed and at ease with my state of mind, right?
I love it. I feel comfortable just hearing that,
So is that what we're doing today?
Yes,
are you bringing down my anxiety just a little bit? Great.
So let's talk to Raquel. Raquel, you've got your own studio. You've loved painting for a while now. Talk to us about it.
What better time to come out and talk to Belize about art and about the benefits of art with mental health, because I was talking to my friend last night and I was saying that the main event that brought me or took me on this path to bring art onto the community and to kids and bring it to the youth was because I was asked by Dr. Krista Courtney to bring paintings, and that was the first time I've ever done anything like that. I have my kids do it all the time, my students, I call them my kids, sorry. And we were asked to, I was asked to bring art to donate to a mental health event that they had prior to coronavirus, like from 2018 or something. And when I brought it, I was really shy about it. I put it out there and they were auctioning it off. And I was very surprised how people were paying for it and that they used that money towards mental health awareness. And so I realized that through my art, I'm just painting for fun, and like all my students, they have this whole collection at home, and you could use that collection to raise awareness or to raise funding to help raising awareness. And so that's what brought me into the whole mainstream of art for the community. And then after that, during COVID, we were all shut down. I was just painting for myself and selling for myself, nothing to do with students, nothing to do with kids, no community work. And when we were shut down because of tourism closing during COVID, I had to decide how am I going to make money and how am I going to do that now?
Yeah.
Because tourism is closed. I'm not selling art anymore to tourists or to gift shops or anything. And that's where the art school began. Because in the community of Belmopan, people knew I was doing art, and parents would reach out and ask if I would teach the kids. And that's how it started. And we have a lot of students who join us now, and maybe Courtney can say a few words about it.
Can you show us while we are talking about Raquel art? Can you show us how to do a nice painting, Courtney?
Yes, we're going to start. We're going to jump right into it because time's going.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to pick up a little canvas, and we're going to use these little cups. So these are going to be like our little palettes. You guys take whatever color you want, and I'll just show you a really quick technique of how to blend. So we're going to do a blending technique. I want you guys to wet your brushes. I'm going to give everybody the square brushes better. Okay. So the little flat brush, we're going to use those. In art class, we call them all sorts of names. The correct name is a flat brush. We say square brush, anything.
You want escala?
Yeah.
You want escala?
Oh yes, and our spread today has stuff that makes us happy.
Okay.
So we have different little heart things and the colors, and that it's really important if you're going to start painting to go in an area that you feel happy, like reading a book. So it makes you calm.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, your happy space. So we're going to take whatever color you guys want. There's tons of colors over here. So if you guys want yellow or red, any color, and then you can put it into a little container. The teal is really cute. So you wet your brush.
Hey. Oh, which one are the teal?
This one you got it already.
All right. So wet the brush.
Wet the brush and then go straight into your paint.
All right. So wet
the paint's really dry. You're gonna mix it up in there.
Okay. Oh.
So you're mixing it up.
Okay.
Very good. And then while we're doing this, I guess we can have Courtney.
Yeah, because Courtney is a student. She's a student. So Courtney, why did you choose painting, and why did you?
We're gonna do side to side. Sorry, just before you guys start. I see April done the dots. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna show for our viewers at home. Maybe somebody wants to learn. If you're gonna do like, can you guys give me some yellow? Let me just do a quick sunset for everybody on
yellow
while we're talking about Courtney's
art experience.
Exactly, in her journey to art. So we're gonna wet that brush.
Okay.
Miss Carrie, you could do it too. And then we're gonna go side to side. So that's it. That's the technique. That's the technique I teach everybody because it's really cute. At the end, you'll have something. It's not that difficult. So we go side to side all the way across.
Okay.
All the way across their easel, just side to side. And the thing is that if it's imperfect, that's great. That's what gives it character, right?
Right.
So we're not worried about that.
So. Okay,
so just side to side, that's it. Wet your brush again. I'm getting whatever color. You guys have teal. When you reach kind of halfway, you get some white and you put it in there and you look really pretty. So we're going to go side to side. And I think that's already showing on maybe on the camera.
All right, so wait, okay.
And then we're going to get yellow.
So more side to side.
Yeah, just side to side.
Side to side is basically what it is.
Feel like I dance for under.
There we go, that's it.
All right, so side to side.
Yeah.
And it's going to be all the way down? Oh, I noticed
all the way down. All the way down.
I just.
But Raquel, you don't change color? Okay.
All right, you guys put some white inside your little container.
I went into my teal, and I am in the complete opposite of what everybody did.
It doesn't matter.
So put some white in the teal or in the next container?
In another container, and then you go from side to side.
Por favor, help me out.
Por favor.
Yeah, help me out, por favor.
There you go. John, how often you paint?
I don't. Christmas.
Christmas? All right.
Aww.
All right, so there we go. And we're still waiting to hear from
now, Courtney. You can start, Court. What's your experience?
But okay.
Okay, so when I started art, I was an art kid. My mom had me in different programs. I did piano, I did ballet. I was always performing, especially in high school. So after I graduated, I basically was bored at home. I had nothing to do. I took like a few months off. I didn't want to go to college right away. I wanted to try to figure out myself.
Yeah.
So I, what everyone did, I relaxed at home, taking care of myself until I got bored.
Of course.
Everyone talks about, taking a year off is just so glamorous. It's not. I get bored so easily. And so my grandma saw Miss Raquel on TV and she was telling me like, oh, you like art, you sketch. So she's like, give me a try. At the same time, my mom and grandma was taking the trip, so I was like, I have a choice. I could stay home and be idle, or I could be productive. So when I first went, I was nervous. I was kind of scared because I didn't know anyone. And eventually, you know, I broke out of my shell and I realized I'm actually really good at this.
Sweet.
It turned from a hobby to something I actually want to do professionally.
And so when it comes to your art studio, Raquel, where is it and how can people be a part of it?
Okay, so for now, you can join me. It's in Belmopan, but we're trying to do more projects with students and with kids, with youth from all over the country. So pretty soon I'm heading over to Dangriga, for example, to do a little project there. It depends on where we get funding to go to, but we do try to help as many as we can. So it's not really just in studio. We go outside. So we go to parks, or we go to the school.
It's your space that you feel that you're comfortable at, right?
I like to call it my foundation. It's slowly growing. It's slowly getting there. And we'll try to get out there to more and more students. Courtney's experience coming to us when she had a choice. She had a choice whether or not she could stay home or come out. I like these kids to talk about their experiences because it shows how they could have gone through that depression by staying at home. Yeah. By maybe just not having they don't have a clear path of where they want to go. So when they came to me, it was a little bit more, they could talk amongst themselves, and that's what I like the most when we're painting and the students all talk to each other, or the youth talk to each other. I give them that space. You know, we just kind of like back off and let them do their thing. Courtney knows because the talkies and the quote come out. It's a therapy session right there.
So is it like a full-fledged school? How is your setup like?
Yes, so during different sessions, so we'll have a session for summer, we'll have a session pretty soon for Christmas, and we take on the kids. They'll come for a course or two, depending on how long they want to stay. And they do learn all the fundamentals of art with me, but like I said, it's more relaxed. So they will learn about art, but they'll learn without knowing that they're learning.
So Carrie, talk to us about how, like what we're doing right now in terms of raising mental health awareness.
Yes.
How do you see art inspiring and impacting persons with that struggle with their mental health?
Well, there's so many ways. Like, for example, what we're doing right now, if you take a mental poll, how are you feeling just before you started? And how you're feeling
right now.
Which
Yes.
and that's within a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And
So imagine after doing it for 20 minutes, how you'd feel.
I feel lost within this, like I'm trying to create something, and I totally forget that we're actually on screen all of these things, you know. But Kerry, as a psychologist, talk to us about the importance of a hobby and how that can help you deal with your mental health.
Any hobby is important with mental health, and especially ones that are non-destructive, but especially ones that get you moving. Getting your creative juices flowing. For example, dancing, painting. I was explaining to Raquel on the way here that sometimes in our mind we tend to think about, oh, we need to be doing something like meditating or yoga. But for a lot of people, it's really hard to just sit there doing nothing. A lot of us need to be doing something. And when we can connect our hands with our minds, it forces us to have that relaxation that we can't otherwise sometimes achieve.
Totally. I love it. Raquel, so where can folks find you and try to, because I love this. Like I don't mind go sit down, maybe drink a glass of wine, do this, and talk to us about that and how we could find you and try to get something like this going on.
Awesome. So before I get into self-promoting, I wanted to say that we did a lot of research on what the benefits are of art with mental health, or when we say mental health, that's such a broad spectrum, but we're talking about small things. You don't have to think like a crazy, this is mental health. No, it comes with stress, like Kyrie was saying, stress, anxiety, all these traumas that you go through. Like you guys were just talking about the bus situation, and so stop in front of you, need to get where you need to go. That is stress. So when you reach to where you're going, you're angry, you're going through all these emotions, these negative emotions, and So these are things that when you're painting, it's not just painting. We were doing some research, and it's any kind of hobby. You could make something out of clay, you could be painting, you could be doing a sketch, you could be singing, you could be playing the piano, whatever it is that makes you kind of, and Miss Carrie and I were talking about this with Courtney, is that it makes you kind of disappear.
Yes.
We like to say that you kind of go in the zone.
Yeah.
It feels like a meditation without you doing the whole mantra. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. And that's what we're trying to bring to Belize today, bringing that to your homes, to your phones, telling you that, yeah, you could come to me. I would love for you all to come to me. I can't take everybody, but if you don't, you cannot make it, do anything at home. You know, like these little things that I did, it's just a little cardboard. We painted. This is a cutout of a heart that I fold. You know how I used to fold a sheet and cut out? I did that. I cut a fold a sheet. I make a heart. I stick it there with my finger, paint over it, and then this are just bows where I tie together and I put it there. We sell them, but sometimes just doing that, I do 300 for the night, and I feel like I don't know, like I did a whole therapy session.
I'll tell you what, Raquel, you know, this is great for, even for relationships. So, you know, you're trying to get in a relationship, you're going on a date night, you could paint something up, and this is cool. This does make I feel good. You know, I think it's something to dive into.
Great. It really does calm you. You go into that zone, you get calm. And like I said earlier, we were reading articles in the car while we were coming here, trying to, you know, not encourage, but trying to get our mind going of what we would say on live TV. Yeah. And now we're on live TV and we forget all of it. The thing that we remember was, what was really interesting was this guy talking about PTSD, and then Miss Carrie mentioned, did you know in the 20th century,
that's how art therapy came about, because of the soldiers from World War II, when they came back and they couldn't find a way to express using words the traumas that they'd experienced. So they used sculpting, and they used painting, and they used art forms to express. So sometimes our words aren't enough, and we need a different way to express.
Excellent. I love that.
And it helps in PTSD. That's what I found really interesting, because I found that out last night, like midnight, doing research to come on today. And I'm like, this helps with PTSD. Like, I can't even believe it. Like, trauma. Who not going through trauma? Like, lots of Belizeans. We were talking about that, how like a lot of people that Belize is supposed to be like this calm paradise, but a lot of us are really tense. And so
it's because it's supposed to be this calm paradise. We feel pressure to stay and be in a calm paradise. There's no room for error.
We are, people think we're so chillax here. When you talk about foreigners coming, they're like, oh man, you guys live in paradise. You're so relaxed. You can get to go to the beach all the time. And we don't. We're kind of stressed out. And with everything happening in politics, whatever happening in the world, whatever is happening with the economy, global warming, whatever, you're stressed out. Kids are stressed out. You think that the kids were not stressed out during COVID? My daughter stopped standard 1 during COVID, and she got back to school, standard 4. I mean, like, I can't even imagine that. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that happened to us? I can't even, that blows my mind.
It is. And we don't think about our kids in that way, that it's affecting them in a way that's mentally, and they have to be able to adapt to all of these social cues now, and we were all alone and isolated prior to that. So then, tell us how the kids feel when they're in it.
Right now, we are trying to, and I've seen it in a couple schools in Belmopan. Like I said, I'm kind of biased to Belmopan.
That's okay, I biased to Belmopan too. Tell me about it, and I'm okay.
I'd just come, but yes, I love it. So in Belmopan, the schools, they reach out to me because they're doing a lot of expressive art in their curriculum now. Yes. So that's in their clubs. They're bringing art back into classroom. There's actually a whole hour, more than an hour, dedicated a week for, Courtney, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. So there's like a whole week dedicated, a whole hour a week dedicated to art. And a couple schools have reached out, like Compre reached out and Olag reached out for me to go in and help teach with the art classes and to help teach with the clubs. So Compre reached out because Miss Emily, she does Helping Hands, and she was asking me to come out and see what we can do with their gardening and stuff like that. Courtney, we have another project, Miss Carrie. So I always
Did you learn that on live TV just now? Yeah, okay, great.
We just forced them to go on live. So we go out, we do these things with the kids, and what I see is, and I really have to mention this because my mind will forget it, with the kids, the most important thing that I think they take away from a project, we do painting sessions like we're doing right now, we do murals, we do cleanup, we do recycling, we a lot of stuff in the parks, a lot of things we do with the kids. We work along with our area rep, we work along with the city council, we do a lot of things in Belmopan in the community that I would like to do outside of Belmopan. One day we'll get there. It's a small little organization that's just starting. However, what I see the kids take away is some sense of self-worth. Because when they're done, I gave this story so many times, but we did. Okay. So we did this mural. I don't want to single out where the mural was done. So we did this mural, and this 4-year-old little boy, he came out, and it was the first time he was holding a paintbrush. He was very nervous. We gave him the paintbrush, and we told him, just go. It doesn't matter what you do, you can't mess up art. So he did a part of the wall, a small part, maybe like a foot of it. And you think like, okay, the kid's done, 15 minutes, he's happy, and he's done, he goes home.
Yeah.
He'll forget it. He doesn't forget it. We were out there doing the mural for a week, and he came by like 2 days later with his grandmother, and this was the best thing. Like, I didn't get it on camera. I wish I could get these moments on camera. He came out there with his grandmother, and it's why I do what I do, because he pointed out and he said, "Gran, that's where I painted. Look at my space. It was one little blue space." But he not forget that.
It's personal to him.
And he'll remember that forever, and that's something that I hope the kids are feeling. I'll ask Courtney, you feel that way, Courtney? You feel proud?
Primarily, it is a great feel. We're totally out of time, though. We're totally out of time. And again, where can we find your studio?
Okay, so the studio is in Belmopan. Please look for me on Facebook. That'll be the best way to look. Raquel Art on Facebook. You could join on Instagram as well. Raquel Rodriguez Art on Instagram. And just message me there. It'll be much better, because if you want to do something with the community, we're constantly doing things for the community. Like I said, we just asked to do something in Dangriga. So if you're in Dangriga and you want to come out, please message me. We will be doing, I can't even remember how many projects we'll be doing soon, but we have another mural to do in Belmopan. So if you're in Belmopan and you want to help out with a mural, you can message me on Raquel Art. My WhatsApp is 614-5182, but you don't need that. Just go on Raquel Art. We answer you very regularly.
All right, thank you guys so very much. The importance of mental health and how painting can actually help you with that.
Yes, it
And
can.
it activates your reward center. As you can see, you feel good now, don't you?
See, April last what I can see. You see? You know this? But it was a great time, ladies. Thank you so very much for being with us this morning. We will take a break.
How cute!
We will take a break, and when we come back, of course, no bada me nerves.
Oh yes, man.
When I paint, you know, bada my nerves.
Exactly. How do you feel?
Marlon Benson is coming up next, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us. We will be right back. Love it. Oh my God.
Life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
If you are ailing due to a chronic disease and are left permanently invalid before retirement age, you may want to check if you qualify to receive invalidity benefit. The invalidity benefit exists for persons who are unable to continue working due to permanent illness. To qualify, you must be under 60 years old, must be sick for 26 consecutive weeks and certified to be medically unable to perform any type of work, must have at least 5 years of paid SSB contributions and at least 5 paid within the 3 months leading up to your illness. If you do not qualify for the invalidity pension, you may be eligible for the invalidity grant. Want to know more about invalidity benefit? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Everyone, including our elderly, needs to stay connected with their loved ones. With Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program, senior citizens can sign up for 10 megabytes of unlimited internet at a low monthly cost of $25. Citizens over 65 can sign up with a valid ID and receive free installation plus 1 month free on selected broadband plans. Visit a Smart showroom near you for more information on how you can enjoy Smart's Golden Citizen broadband program. Smart, bringing people together.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for Financial Literacy Journalism.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
Little movie, I turn it up on my headset. The day just they pass by, and I still delay down, yeah. Tomorrow's another day, but tomorrow no promise to ya. Why can't I have a life like this that I see in the movies? Them travel boat in a joyful bliss, like them not have worries. One scene take over, yeah. Take over there. Action to fairy tale, happy ending, but I not get mine yet. I want my life feel like one movie, and I don't see why not. Walk on the beach and start get groovy. Make the research my back. Take a trip on the yacht. Smile for a movie shot. I want my life feel like one movie, and I don't see why not.
I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
Big inspiration.
Marlon Vanson sitting here with us as we speak, launching a new video. Marlon, you are
rock
amazing.
star, yes.
You are amazing. I just make a note to some office. Man, Marlon, I think some office with me, man. We continue to rock, but Marlon, again, congratulations to you. It's a beautiful video. Love it. Red Roll Films again.
Always.
They're number one. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But we know that things have been tough. Things have been tough, but you continue to barrel through, and music videos will be there. You've got your baby girl. You've got your family. Let's talk about your life at this particular point, and then we'll move on. We'll move on into the video and how you came to that. Let's talk about your life at this point. How are you feeling?
Well, every day is a challenge. For those of you who don't know, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and honestly, it was like a snap of change in my life, very, very quickly, and it hasn't been the same ever since.
Well, let's talk about what challenges you've had to overcome in terms of change. So you started to feel sick, and then you were diagnosed.
Yes. So it started with, I didn't know this at that point, but now I know. You know, looking back, I believe that it started with somewhat a depression kind of thing. I wasn't having much motivation or drive to do things. For example, my normal way of living was to get up early in the morning, cook breakfast, clean the house, get my baby ready, and take her to school. I did my own little classroom setting for her, and that was something I was so excited about, to teach her, even though she's really, really young. I was so excited. That was the norm for me. And from there, go mix, go cook and deal with music and deal with this, that, it was a busy lifestyle. But then eventually, for some reason, I wasn't motivated to do that. I was getting up, but I literally found myself sitting on the ground, just looking into nothing. I was just not motivated to do anything. And then eventually that led to me not, I noticed, I did this show, one of the last shows that I did was Billiken Bash 2021. And now I look back and I can see why. I was struggling through that show to actually perform. I've always done like an hour of performances, and it was never an issue. Yes, no problem. But that one took a lot out of me. That one was really, really hard for me to get through. My body just wasn't working the way that it used to, I guess. And I didn't know that until now, because slowly after that, then I ended up having a seizure. And I've never ever experienced a seizure in my life. So at that point, I didn't even know that it was a seizure. The way that my seizures worked was, at that point, at least the beginning of it, I went paralyzed in half of my body. It just wouldn't work. And I got this really, really heavy feeling in this side of my body, in the right side. And when I got that feeling, it felt very scary. And so I could recall I was actually lying in bed with my daughter, and I got this sensation over this entire side of my body, and I got scared. So I went to get my phone to call my husband to quickly come here because I have the baby. So I went to call him, but my hand wouldn't move. And that's really, really scary. So I'm like, oh my, why, what? And my mind is like, let's go get the phone. But it didn't work. And so I like randomly, like something, you have another hand. So I quickly grabbed that, and he came quickly. And by the time he was like right outside of the room, but he came quickly. And by the time he came, I was getting back movement again. And we said, oh, maybe it's just, blood, maybe, gone from it for a moment. Let's, work it out a little, just get moving, make the blood flow through it or something. We don't know. And that was that. And that was scary. And then the next day, I had 2 more of that happen. But one of the instances was that I was about to get out of the car because I was still working. I was doing different shows, and it was during the day, but I had a live broadcasting to do. And I was getting out of the car, and as I stepped, we were walking, and I stepped and I fell. And my husband grabbed me, and we tried to hurry get back to the vehicle. And I'm like, no, this isn't right. Nope. And I quickly called my mom. I'm going to the doctor. I can't. Nope. I'm not. Nope. So we went straight to the doctor, and that's pretty much been what it was. Eventually, it went from that 1, the next day it was 2, the next day it was probably 5, the next day, and it went all the way up to having about 90 for the day. Wow. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it doesn't even sound real, or it sounds exaggerated, but that's literally what I was going through, literally. And I had to count it because you need those kind of information. Exactly. So, and you have to keep tracking it and stuff. So you have to know, oh, well, on Monday I had 90, so on Tuesday, is it getting worse? By Friday,
so you know,
so I have to, exactly, I have to keep track of those things. So I could say it was about up to 90 at the highest,
and that was,
but that was the regular. So every day it was about that. Literally, it never did really went down until I started to get real help.
And now, are you still going through?
No, thank God. I haven't had any seizures since I started my MS medication. We finally found, what happened was, it's not, you have to try to find things that works for your body. And so we tried different seizure meds and they weren't working until I found that the doctor, you know, we try and you find a nice combination of medications, seizure medications that work. So I was on two seizure medications, and it was about 3 in the morning, 3 at night for one, and 1 in the morning and 1 at night. So that's four pills in the morning, 4 pills in the night, and that's just for seizures because I have other problems.
Oh wow, wow.
Well, I mean, we've been tracking your movements in terms of your progress and so forth. And particularly with the fundraisers from your community and that your family, how much of an impact and how much help they have been for you. And let's get into that. Let's talk about your community help and of course your fundraiser that is coming up this weekend.
So like I said in the beginning, it was really, really rough, and it wasn't really until I got my MS medication that I started to actually feel an improvement and be able to, you know, move without having a seizure, because I had a lot of triggers that were causing the seizures. So if and that's why I was having about 90, because as I moved my hand, it would trigger a seizure. If I turned too fast, it would trigger a seizure. Even like seeing things, seeing a change of scenery triggers a seizure. So anything I couldn't do anything, because anything I do would trigger a seizure. So that's why it was that much. And so I wasn't able to do anything until I really got my MS medication. And honestly, I'm telling you, there's no way that I would be able to have gotten my medication without my community's help. It was really, really nice to see everyone actually come together, you know, to help me, you know, to try to get a better life from that point. I could remember the first fundraiser that we had. It was because all the Belizean artists, you know, saw what I was going through, and they wanted to help, and so they rallied together, and they did this showcase barbecue. And it, you know, it was like so amazing, because you realize how much impact you have on people and how much people actually care for you. You know, at some points you know, sometimes you think, oh, they don't even know me, or we don't talk, or, you know, we don't have that close. But it's like, it is a community. Just because we're in the same field, somehow that bonds us together. And it's amazing to see how much it, you know, how much that can do for you.
Yeah, because you know, music, a lot of people don't understand, even though we might sing different things, but we're speaking the same language.
Literally.
It's music, you know. So what about the fundraiser for this weekend? What do we have coming up?
So I don't even remember the date.
I know we have something coming up. I don't remember the date as well.
Oh, the 11th.
November 11th? Okay, and where?
Yes. It's gonna be at the...
Okay, so it's a turkey dinner sale. It's a turkey dinner fundraiser, and it's going for 12 hours. So I make you know I love turkey dinner.
Me too.
Turkey dinner, it's going for $12, and that's with delivery. I think I said delivery available for $3.
Yeah,
okay.
$3 delivery.
So $12 a plate. If you want turkey dinner, and if you want chicken rather than turkey, then it says $10, and that's your option. All right. So this is going to be. I love turkey, girl. I mean, I love turkey
he
dinner.
Ham. He not like turkey.
Yeah, but then it says chicken. You know, not everybody do that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if you want chicken instead of turkey, it's $10, but turkey dinner is $12. But I'll tell you what. This is not you to buy your plate of food. This is actually a pledge. You're pledging your donation and
Yes.
it starts at $12.
Yes.
You know, so this is trust me, this is for a worthy cause.
Yes,
And let's get to your music video too.
I also want to say thank you to everybody who has been supporting me before. Like I said, I really can't afford the MS medication. It's really, really expensive.
Really expensive.
There's I don't know who can actually live that way, but I have to live on this thing
Yeah.
for the rest of my life. So
Yeah.
I really don't have a choice but to continue to do fundraisers and hope that my community continues to help me to be able to get up and actually help my child and myself, because
Yeah.
I do have a baby girl. She's 2 years old.
Ashley, the everything. Yeah.
She looked up just now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, you know, being in the way that I was, I couldn't look after her, and so, you know, only because of you guys' support, I'm able to actually help myself and her. So I need that to continue,
Yeah.
guys. I really, really need it. So thank you.
Let's continue to help.
But I mean, we see the results of that medication working with having you here, and of course, seeing your music come to life. Tell us what it was like to go back and record and do your music video. Yeah.
Well, honestly, it felt great. At the beginning, I wouldn't have thought that I would even be doing this again. Like, it's like when you feel, hey, it was really, really bad. At that point, you feel like you're gonna die, and you feel like there's no hope left.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what it feels like. You're at the bottom of, and there's nowhere up.
Yeah.
You know, but there is.
Yeah.
You know, and I say thank God to that. You know, I'm very grateful. I say thank God every day, because you know you only get one life to live.
You get one life to live, and then you've got the baby girl, which is another additional life for you. But we're so thankful that you were able to join us, and we're so glad that you're able to do music again.
I'm really
bring
glad.
Out your
And you know, here's a fun fact. Because I was down for so long, not really able to get up, I had to find things to do while lying in bed, because you're just gonna be depressed all day, and that sucks, right?
Yeah.
So something that I started to do, obviously, you know, I've always played guitar and I've always been musically inclined and stuff. So what I started to do was to look into making my own instrumentals, and I learned how to make music, you know, as best as I could. It's not, you know, you know, I'm not DJ Khaled or anything, but you know, I took that initiative. I did something with my time, and I learned. And so this song is the result. That's my first instrumental by myself.
You make everything?
Yes, so I did that. I recorded myself, I edited myself, I produced the entire thing, and I'm very, very proud of that, because out of something really, really tragic and you know, traumatic, came something beautiful that I could look back on and say, I did that, and I'm really proud of myself for that, you know. And I wrote this song in that time as well, so it's my inspiration. It's me sharing what I learned through this experience, and that's pretty much what this music is about.
You can see your vibe, you can feel you're happy in this music video, and everything in it. It's beautiful.
This we got dance moves.
Yes, she did groovy in there.
Hey, I can't stand for long or anything, you know, but hey, we could sit down.
You could sit down and dance and sit. She got her moves down.
Marlon.
It's so wonderful to see you in this state of happiness.
There is no such thing as I can't do it. Marlon is proving you wrong when it comes to that type of mentality. If you ever feel that you're not able to do it, Marlon is here to prove to you that yes, you can. Marlon, thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
So
Ashley,
lovely seeing you.
Thank you.
And don't forget to get your order in for Marlon
Big turkey
dinner sale on November 11th.
November 11th.
Delivered at $3, or you could pick it up at Evanson.
And I've got to say, November 11th is a Friday, so all these businesses, let's come together.
And
I know that everybody love their turkey dinner on a Friday afternoon.
Order up.
My gosh. And
With a lot of
pledge
ham.
your 12, pledge your 12, man. If you want chicken, there's chicken, and of course there is a turkey.
I want to get mine with turkey. John could get one, his one is chicken.
Man, I might just get one.
I know he don't want any of the above. He just want ham.
He just want ham. Just put ham.
You ever go to some place and order a burrito? You're telling I want a burrito, but I don't want no beans, no chicken, no nothing in it. Just give me the turkey.
Wow.
Anyways, it was a great time, Marlon.
So much.
Congratulations with the video, your newfound skill, and we know that other things are there to come, but we need the community's help to get her into the space that she needs to be to continue to be great. All right, Marlon, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take our final break in the morning, and when we come back, we will be wrapping things up. So stay with us. We will be right back.
You only get one life to
Great Belize Productions Channel 5, proud winner of 9 Caribbean Media Awards for 2021. Best Investigative Report, Best News Item, Best Coverage of People with Disabilities, Best Financial Literacy Journalism, Best Videographer, Best Television Commercial Spot, and the People's Choice Award, with 2 special mentions for financial literacy journalism.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
Road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
We're back. We are back. Just like that, we've got to go. It was a great time. If you've got questions, concerns, if you got a birthday shout out, you could always drop us a line.
Right here.
OYE@channel5belize.com.
Or you can catch us on our socials at Open Your Eyes BZ on Facebook and on Instagram at OYE Belize.
Yep, or you could join us again tomorrow morning when you open your eyes.
And you start your morning, right?
That's per usually keep your eyes, your mind,
and your heart open.
We're going to see you soon. Make sure that you enjoy your day today, Belize. And for those of you living in low-lying areas, the authorities are saying, especially in the Belize district, try your best to move out. All right? Thank you so very much. Join us again tomorrow and make sure that you enjoy your day.
Bye, Belize.
What you make it, so I'm gonna make it good. No need no expensive thing, just have to set the right mood. Me not go wait no more. I have me newfound motivation. So I'm gonna live my life, set lights the camera.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.